Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about understanding and how we come to understand ourselves. And before talking about how we come to understand ourselves, I want to talk a little bit about why is it important for us to understand ourselves. So in our Islamic tradition, there's a lot of emphasis on awareness, accountability, and growth of ourselves. And this is something that's been highlighted and talked about throughout our tradition in the form of character development, character reformation, and spiritual development, as well as holding ourselves accountable and being aware of internal or external forces that might get our nafs or ourself out of balance. And our self and our nafs is a very valuable investment. It's ultimately an investment that will grant us happiness in this life and after and bring us close to Allah. And Imam Ghazali, in his book Ihya Ulum ad-Din, or Reviving the Sciences of Our Religion, mentions in Islamic tradition, when Allah wants good with his servant, he grants him insight into his own vices or faults. And so being aware of our faults or our vices is something that's considered something good and a blessing. And the reason that is that this awareness aims to facilitate change and growth in ourselves. The Prophet, peace be upon him, also says that a believer is a mirror to another believer. When we think about a mirror, it's something where it's an object where you can see yourselves. It reflects yourself to you, your strengths, your weaknesses. It gives you an objective reflection of yourself. And that view or that feedback that you get is something that you can use to adjust, to highlight your strengths, to adjust anything that needs to be adjusted at the same time. So now that we talked a little bit about why it's important and to be aware of ourselves and why this is an invaluable investment for us, let's talk about what are some ways or paths to achieve this awareness. So Imam Ghazali as well mentions or highlights two paths. One is through a spiritual mentor, so somebody who's grounded in understanding of Islam, but is also aware and has understanding in matters of spiritual wellness and illness and spiritual change. So this is one path, and the other path is through a companion who is upright and who's also an expert in change, in a person's change and individual growth. And this is what I would like to talk a little bit more about and what relates to the work we do at Khalil Center and as mental health professionals. So the second relationship is what we're focused on as mental health professionals. The goal of this relationship and companionship is to have a space where there's trust, confidentiality, where the expert can help the individual gain insight into their strengths, into their weaknesses, and an awareness that produces transformation and change and growth in the individual. So before I wrap up, I just wanted to briefly touch base about what is our self, or what is our nafs, our self or our psyche comprised of. So from an Islamic perspective, we understand that a person from a metaphysical perspective has four different parts. So we have the aql, which is the intellect, ihsas, which is a person's emotions, nafs, which is a person's behavioral inclinations, and ruh, which is a person's spirit. So when we're seeking awareness or awareness about ourselves, we want to have awareness about these different parts of ourselves, how they're functioning, are they in balance, are they out of balance, and how can we restore balance? Because ultimately maintaining balance in these aspects of ourselves will help us fully express our metaphysical heart, al-qalb, which ultimately brings us closer to Allah on our journey towards Him.